Welcome to another broadcast team training video. My name's Brian, and I'm so excited today to take a deep dive into the wonderful world of understanding the why behind each of our camera positions will help all of us to elevate how we capture and broadcast our Sunday services and make an even bigger impact for Jesus. Let's get started. Hey Cam fam, Brian here, and in this training video, we're going to be going through the roles and responsibilities of camera 3. Now, as I was looking through camera 3 footage, I was able to diagnose 3 specific reasons why we use this camera in our Sunday services. The first is to create a dynamic visual experience through this use of parallax. So here's our dolly shot set up back here, and this is sort of our angle of view. Now, as we shuttle back and forth on this dolly, the things in the foreground are going to move substantially faster than the things in the background. You might notice this if you're driving in your car and you see trees or houses or other cars moving faster in front of you, but something like a mountain range will move much slower in the distance. This is parallax. This kind of grounds us in our world. We have a sense of movement. We have a sense of place. And that's what this camera can provide. The second is to provide visual breaks during a message for our online audience. This shot, though being taken live, is not the shot that we're using in our in-room experience. We found that when we used this shot in our room, the people who are actually physically in the building were distracted by the substantial change in perspective, whereas the online audience felt like they were actually part of the room and part of the experience. So we like to give the messages this sort of visual break to re-engage our online audience. And the third is to bring powerful sweeping movements during climactic parts of our worship experience. You can see when this dolly movement is shuttling to the right, the operator is also zooming out. And this just creates a really dynamic looking shot that pulls me into the worship experience. So since we've looked at the purpose of these cameras, let's break down some of the shots. Because camera 3 is fixed on a dolly, you really only have the option to shuttle left or right. But you also have the ability to do zooms in and out, or rack focuses back and forth. Now, some of the operators are taking this to its fullest potential, and it's really awesome to see. But let's look at some shots and diagnose what makes a dolly shot a good-looking shot. This is an example of a great-looking shot. We've got plenty of people in the congregation worshiping along with the band. The band is engaged, they're energized, and the speed of the dolly is matching the movement on the stage. It's a great focal length. You're giving great headroom to the band. It just feels like this shot can breathe. This is a great looking shot. The operator is moving much more slowly, but you're getting some really great parallax still with the congregation in the foreground. And again, great headroom, great pacing. During the message, I tend to default to a wider looking shot, especially for the online audience. It's really great to see the room interact like this, which is why we take this shot. Now let's talk briefly about zooming in during a dolly shot. As cool as this looks, it's really hard to nail. This type of shot will come with a lot of practice because zooming in to land on a close-up is much more difficult to frame than zooming out to a wide shot. So I'm totally for using this kind of shot, but make sure you practice before we use it on a Sunday morning. This is an example of a shot that I'm not quite in love with, primarily because we're getting so much dark space and so much of this screen that it's really hard to see and understand what's going on the stage. I understand what the operator was thinking of, trying to get more of the congregation in the shot, but we can easily get that with shots like this while we're still interacting with the main focus, which is the people who are leading us in worship. You can see in this shot when there's no movement, there's no shuttling back and forth, how dead this shot looks. The idea of shooting people in the back line is great, but we have to get that parallax movement to make this shot worth it. So this is a shot that I wouldn't take live. This shot is great too, but we don't see the front line for a good 5 to 7 seconds in this shot. And so we have all of this dead space on the stage that we have to deal with. I would much rather the shot either be zoomed out so that you can see more of the stage, or zoomed in so we get more of a close-up of the drummer and the bass guitarist. This is one of the more tricky cameras to operate. Not only is it difficult to pull off a smooth dolly shot and keep the composition looking stellar, but there's also a tripping hazard. All of the cables running from the camera into the wall are at your feet, and because you're walking back and forth, this presents a problem. So it takes practice and a little bit of agility to be able to keep that snake out of your path and keep that shot looking good. Take advantage of rehearsals and practices to find out what works best for you with this camera, and share what you learn with the team. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. It is an honor to serve alongside you here at Northshore, and I hope you learned something. I know I sure did. Well, see you Sunday.